Well, let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. They know mortgages and have known mortgages for well over 30 years. They operate from their office near 114th and Davenport, just south of 114th and Dodge. More importantly, they help you with mortgages, FHA, VA, conventional, some specialty mortgages as well. And the nice thing about them, as a mortgage broker, they shop the market. They're not beholden to one bank, one lender. They can find out what is right for you. They meet with you, very customer service oriented, and then recommend the best lending, borrowing situation, if you will, for your new house. So if you're thinking about getting your piece of the American dream or a different or bigger piece of the American dream, definitely reach out to Eagle Mortgage. You can find them online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. We have big news during this segment this week, and we're really going to focus mostly on a couple stories because it's just that big. It's $1 billion big. In case you missed it, the Omaha Airport Authority this week announced formally, we knew it was coming, but they announced formally that the Eppley Airport Terminal will be completely about 99 to 100% overhauled. We're talking about a $950 million expense. We're going to see the terminal size nearly doubled, going from 375,000 square feet to 646,000 square feet. Centralized TSA security screening, one long concourse. You'll no longer have half of the gates on one overcrowded pod and half the gates on the other with two security lines. You'll have one big, modern, efficient security line. And then perhaps most importantly, for those of us who get to the airport early, we'll finally have space for bars, restaurants, retail shops, past security. Right now, when you go to Eppley and you get past security, Jorge, it sometimes is shoulder to shoulder. And if you're hungry, if you're thirsty, good luck. I mean, I know in that north terminal, if you have a flight in the morning, that Scooters line is intolerable.
I know, it's true. And we just don't have enough good options. You know, it's exciting to think about what we're going to have now.
Yeah, in fact, on the restaurant front, it'll be interesting to see which local concepts come in now that there's going to be space. My guess is some of the local restaurateurs and retailers are probably thinking, hey, you know, maybe that's a place where we want to get a little exposure. But it doesn't stop just there. We're adding 2 gates, going from 20 gates to 22 gates. A lot of people have asked Grow Omaha in the last few days since this came out, doubling the space and only getting 2 new gates. We actually don't really need more gates from a capacity perspective right now. They don't even use 100% of the gates they have right now. The more important thing is space, room for security, room to wait for your flights. And as we already said, room for all of this stuff. The other thing that's going to take up a lot of space, an international arrivals hall.
I cannot wait.
That is cool. Yeah.
A customs desk. And we identified this in the renderings early on.
We did.
And I'm kind of glad to see it come true because we were just sitting there, you know, waiting on our hands. Are we going to get international flights or not?
Yeah. Jorge and I kind of nerd out on some of this stuff. You know, he's on the planning board. So we sometimes take a peek at some of these plans that come before the planning board. And we're like always trying to guess this stuff. But yeah, it was clear from the early renderings that they intended to have a sterile corridor. There will be 2 of the gates will be international equipped. Now, there is no guarantee that there will be regularly scheduled international commercial flights. The airlines have to decide that that's the right thing to do, but it'll make it possible for that. Plus, we also have to remember Eppley is already an international airport in that a lot of private planes, a lot of charter planes will fly in directly from other countries and land there. And then now they'll just have a better customs and arrival hall for that. And I'll go on record saying I would not be a bit surprised if we have a nonstop to somewhere in the Caribbean or Mexico within 5 years. There are a lot of markets that are barely bigger than Omaha that do have those.
Yep, I agree. I think this is a step clearly in that direction. I can't wait to see.
As far as timeline is concerned, the grand total project won't be completed until deep into 2028. And if you're a person who's saying, oh my God, that's more than 4 years from now, don't worry. It looks like a good chunk of the new terminal will actually be in use around 2026, only a couple years from now. It's just that there's so many moving pieces and they have to open this part before they can tear down that part because they're not building a new terminal. They're going to. This is a build the plane while it's flying moment.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to my wife about this last night. How are they going to logistically make that work? But I'm confident they will.
Yeah, in fact, there's a really cool video on the Omaha Airport Authority's Facebook page. I've seen it a few other places on social media as well. And it's literally got a guy with pieces of a model of the terminal, both old and new. And in the video, I guess it's not the most sophisticated video, but he sits there and picks up pieces with his hands of old chunks of the terminal, then puts into the new replacement, and he talks about the timeline. And if you watch that video, you'll get how it's going to happen.
If only development were that easy.
If only it was, and if only it was that cheap too. I suppose we would like that as well. Hey, one other thing in the news, that $1 billion news took up most of our time, but we also want to mention, speaking of $1 billion projects, that the fate of a proposed $1 billion 4,000-acre lake along the Platte River west of Gretna should be known by this summer. That reported by Nebraska Examiner. 2 studies are underway. One study will determine the feasibility of the lake because there's concern about all of the drinking water wells for MUD and the Lincoln Water Service that are in that area. And the other study is going to assess whether the local philanthropic community and local real estate developers are interested in supporting this thing, because it would be about 90% privately funded. Big deal. But Jorge, if we can make it happen, a big lake would help Omaha.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that would do tourism wise, real estate values. It's going to explode potentially.
It'd be like 7 miles long. And
Wow.
This thing would be one of the key things we've been missing, that outdoor recreation thing. What we're a little bit weak on compared to some other areas. But the results of those 2 studies should be known this summer. And if they don't come back favorably, probably is going to stop thinking about that lake.
So if they do it, will you move out there?
I might go take a boat ride out there.
Okay.
I'm probably if I move
Consider
anywhere,
it.
I might go a little more urban than that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
I might go a little more inland.
Just for purposes of the show, I guess. You gotta, you gotta be an urban radio talk show host.
What about you? Are you going to move out to the lake?
Maybe second, third house. One of those opportunities. Eventually, maybe.
I just hope I can roll like you do someday. Folks, that's your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.